Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys of Magic. This is Hunter, Shane, David, and Steven. Say what up, boys.
Yo, what's going on?
Hello.
What's up, nerds?
We are back. This time, we're doing our Commander Grades video. If you guys don't know what that is, we go ahead and talk about some legendary creatures from future sets or current sets. We give them each a grade, and at the end, we give an average grade just to talk about how they could be as commanders and whatnot. But this video, we are doing the brand new Doctor Who Precon decks. Starting with this one. This one is the Timey-Wimey deck. Shane, you are a big Doctor Who fan. How excited are you about this set?
Very excited. But I will say that I'm a bad Doctor Who fan where I only really know the 9th, 10th, and 11th Doctor, so
Good
hold me to
news. We're talking about these ones today.
oh yeah.
We'll start it off alphabetical order. We will start it off with actually a partner of Amy Pond and Rory Williams. Amy Pond says 2 and a red for a 2/2 legendary creature human. It says partner with Rory Williams. It says whenever Amy Pond deals combat damage to a player, choose a suspended card you own and remove that many time counters from it. It's also a Doctor's Companion. Rory Williams is white and a blue for a 3/3 legendary creature human soldier. Says partner with Amy Pond. It's got first strike and lifelink. It also has the Last Centurion, which says when you cast this spell from anywhere other than exile, exile it with 3 time counters on it. It gains suspend, then investigate. What do we think about this pairing, Steven?
I mean, it's cool. They work well together.
He's the last.
I don't actually know if these cards. Yeah, I don't know if these cards do anything. Like suspend, I'm gonna go ahead and beat a dead horse with this set. I don't think suspend is a real mechanic. I don't think this is a functional mechanic. And like, these cards are cool. They're cheap, but I still don't think they're gonna be doing a whole lot.
Yeah, so you're casting this Rory Williams obviously first because it's the cheaper of the two, right? So it goes into suspend, and you get to investigate, and then Amy Pond has to take him out of the suspend. What relevancy is that, Shane, in Doctor Who lore?
It's just very flavorful. Like she gets stuck in that box behind her actually, and then he basically waits centuries for her to get out of that box, and he can never die. So he's like her eternal protector. Not quite sure why she has to deal damage to bring him out of the stasis, but I feel like it should be backwards.
It does, based on what you said. What do you think of it as a card, though, Shane?
I kind of just feel like together they don't really, like everyone's saying, they don't really do much. Like they're really cute together, and that's the whole point, maybe. Like they're the match made in heaven. They're like in the show the most perfect two people for each other.
Yeah, this is not strong at all. Like, I get it. You cast this and you get a clue. Congratulations, you can draw a card. But once you get it down, it's just got first strike and lifelink, and then Amy Pond doesn't need to do anything unless you have other suspended cards. It's definitely strange.
You are going to build this as a suspend deck, and I guess Jeskai is the color combination to do it. But my thought here is like, Amy Pond has to deal combat damage. She's a 3-mana 2/2. She's never dealing combat damage.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like by the time that she is able to swing, your opponents are going to have other utility creatures in play, or just like bigger things, and she's just never getting in for damage.
Yeah, it's interesting that she's also a Doctor's Companion, meaning you could throw it onto a Doctor too. Doesn't even have to be partnered with this.
Yeah, I think she'll go better with that Doctor that cares about time counters and suspend counters.
Yeah, we'll see when we get to that. Steven, what do you think of this?
I think this would go really well in that Gandalf deck.
Gandalf, sadly, is not a Doctor.
Sad.
I mean, doesn't have to be a doctor to go in the deck.
I'm just commenting that sadly, Gandalf is not.
I mean, he's like a doctor, and we're going to get too deep into this.
You guys are
The Wizard
dumb.
Doctor.
Let's move on to the grades. Shane, what are you giving Amy Pond and Rory Williams?
I don't think I'm giving them that high of a grade. I think I'm gonna give them a D. Flavor-wise, they're high as fuck, but just a D.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there, dude. Amy Pond and Rory Williams gives a D from me, too. They are not powerful enough together.
Yeah, as commanders, this is obviously the commander grades. This is a definite D.
Yep, we are all in agreement. I don't think this color, or I don't think these commander combos do really much of anything.
Average grade for Amy Pond and Rory Williams is a D. Moving down the alphabet, Astrid Peth. Astrid Peth is 1 and a white for a 2/2 legendary creature human. It says whenever Astrid Peth enters the battlefield or attacks, create a food token. It also has an ability called Brand New Sky. Whenever you sacrifice a clue or food, Astrid Peth explores. What is explore, in case you forgot? Reveal the top card of your library. Put that card into your hand if it's a land. Otherwise, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, then put the card back or put it into your graveyard. What do we think about this card, David?
Is this like potential card draw on a white card?
Whoa! It's potential.
Well, yeah, potential. There's a huge stipulation there, and then it has to be a land that you're going to be drawing. But I mean, like, it has potential to put a card in your hand.
I mean, if it's a land, yes.
Yeah, there we go. White card draw. That's what I thought. No, I think this card is actually pretty cool. I mean, you put this in any kind of deck that wants to be able to take advantage of its ETB. And I mean, like, I don't know, you could start to do things. The food tokens there are kind of cool. And then whenever you do sacrifice them, there's other things you can do with it. Plus, like, if you are obviously playing mono white, life gain matters is a very established synergy. So, I don't know. I like this card. I think it's got some legs.
Definitely has 2.
Has 2 legs. That's correct. You did say you would throw this in a deck. How about as a commander, David?
As a commander, I think that this card is a little bit on the weaker side. I don't actually think this is like awful as a monocolored commander, though. I love the fact that this comes down on turn 2. I love commanders that are incredibly cheap. This is one that's going to be relevant for the entirety of the game. So I don't know. I think I'm a fan.
Yeah, and white also has the ability to blink, so you don't necessarily need to attack with that 2/2. You can continue to blink this to create more and more food. I think it's pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this card as a commander. I think this is a really cool card for support. Like a companion, maybe, for a doctor, but it can't be a companion.
Yeah. Yeah, it cannot be a companion.
You brought that up. It's super sad. I like that this card has something to do with sacrificing, and the fact that it can't be a commander's companion is very relevant to the story. The scene actually depicts where she sacrifices herself to save everyone.
Oh,
Wow.
also, she dies right after this.
Spoilers.
Cool. Well, first of all, spoilers, guys.
Here's a question for
This
you.
this
then,
was a
okay?
holiday special, by the way, so don't worry.
Here's a question for you, Shane. What does she have to do with food?
I don't know. She was kind of like she worked on the ship, so like she was not a maid, but she was some kind of like I don't know what you would call that. Like
A
she
cook?
served people, like a waitress kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
I
she always
guess
had dreams of like exploring everything, and then she ended up having to sacrifice herself. Very sad.
She
So
is
you're
wearing like a
saying-
maid's uniform.
We're a waitress.
Yeah,
I guess that too.
So you're saying she never got a chance to explore her dreams?
she never got to see the brand new sky.
She never hit any lands.
Dang. That's sad. Let's move on to the grade. Shane, what are you giving Astrid Peth?
I think she could be okay. I'm gonna say middle of the road C.
I agree with you there as well. This is a C from me.
Being in mono white, I don't think this is going to be good for what it wants to do. So I'm actually going to give this a D.
I'm feeling generous right now. I'm going to give this a C.
Astrid Peth gets the average grade of a C. Next up, Donna Noble. This is 3 and a red for 2/4 legendary creature human. It has Soul Bond. It means you can pair this creature with another unpaired creature when it enters the battlefield. They remain paired for as long as you control both of them. It says whenever Donna or a creature it's paired with is dealt damage, Donna deals that much damage to target opponent. It's also a doctor's companion. Interesting. So you're hoping to get hit, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, you put this into play and then you cast a Blasphemous Act. That's 26 damage you're throwing at something.
No, because it says or, right?
You're right. You're right. I mean, still, that's 13 damage that you're throwing at somebody.
A single target. Yeah. I don't just think it's that great.
Oh, I'm
Rather
not
play
saying it's great.
Imidane.
Imitate.
You could also put this in decks with like Stuffy Doll, or what is there's
Rash
a goblin that
Taunter.
also. There you go. That's the card I'm thinking of. that also has those similar kind of effects of like whenever they get hurt, they deal damage equal to the amount of damage that they would have just taken. So like double down on those kinds of effects. Plus, I mean, this is also a Doctor's Companion. So you can open this up to have this as one of the 2 potential commanders. So there's different color combinations you can play around with here. I'm pretty sure there's also a Boros card that plays around like the same lane as like Stuffy Doll. So I don't know. This actually could be like a cool Pillow Forte, like don't hit me because I'm really gonna hurt you if you do.
Is that what she's doing there, Shane? Don't hit me.
I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about what Donna would do as a card, and like she's one of the strongest companions in the show, and she basically gets melded with a Time Lord. And this is a lot of spoilers, but she becomes really, really strong. So strong that she gets like she has to get her mind wiped, and if she ever remembers her past, then she dies. So it's like it's a pretty gnarly companion, and I was kind of surprised that she doesn't really. I don't know. I guess she does something, but she's a really cool
Soul
companion.
bonded.
Yeah, I guess that's true. She's basically bonded to the Doctor.
Interesting. I don't know if this is strong enough though, because like I said earlier, it's or a creature. So I mean, if you make this indestructible with the creature that you just paired with indestructible, then just start dealing as much damage to your own stuff as possible to drain an opponent.
Yeah, as long as they have indestructible, you're chilling, dude.
It could be good. Let's move on to the grades for Donna Noble. I'm gonna give this a C.
I'm gonna give this a D. 4 mana before it really starts to do anything. I mean, I just not a giant fan of this.
We are all over the place with grades on this. I actually think that because of the Doctor's Companion and the different color combinations that you can take with this, plus just kind of the cool strategy here, I'm going to give this card a B.
Wow.
Whoa. I was gonna say middle of the road C, but I like that.
All right. Donna Noble is getting the average grade of a C. Next up, Idris, Soul of the TARDIS. It is 1, a blue, and a red for a 3/3 legendary creature, human incarnation. It's got Vanishing 3. It also has Imprint, which means when Idris, Soul of the TARDIS, enters the battlefield, exile another artifact you control until Idris leaves the battlefield. And Idris has all activated and triggered abilities of the exiled card and gets +X, where X is the exiled card's mana value. This seems pretty interesting. What do we think here, David?
I don't think I like playing a commander with Vanishing. That scares me.
Yeah, it goes away.
Like, there's cool things that you can do. This is a really neat ability, but like, you better take advantage of it fast because you're going to be losing your commander. And there are like other ways that your opponents can mess around with this too. So like, I don't know. I think she's really weird.
I don't know how to judge her.
I think I kind of remember. Can anyone remind me Vanishing real quick?
Vanishing N means this is permanent enters the battlefield with N time counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, if this permanent has a time counter on it, remove a time counter from it. And when the last time counter is removed from this permanent, sacrifice it.
Very flavorful.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like this card in a weird way. It's like quirky and like I feel like there's a way to like really break this, but I can't figure it out right now.
Blue has the ability to proliferate, so you can keep this around for as long as you continue to proliferate those vanishing counters. But that's a lot of steps to keep your card around.
I think it'd be really cool if you could set up a play where the card you exile is the TARDIS. that's what happens in with Idris.
Oh yeah, you
The
definitely could.
TARDIS gets stolen and then she gets put into a human body, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool episode.
What do you think about this as a card, Jen?
I think that if you exiled the TARDIS, it wouldn't be as strong with the whole like activated abilities of that, but there are some pretty nutty things you could exile and she would get the activated abilities of. I'm sure there's some kind of combo that I'm not thinking about.
Yeah, I can't think of the combo either. I mean, having all activated entry of the exiled card definitely is relevant.
It's got to be something like that infinite mana combo in standard. There's probably something like that.
Yeah.
The cauldron thing.
But just having it just disappear after 3 turns is just not ideal because then you'll have to pay commander tax on that.
Yeah,
Wanna do
I'm
it
sure.
again?
I'm sure with that Timey deck, though, the whole thing is you're manipulating counters, so maybe there's a way to keep throwing them on it.
Yeah, the time travel, you remove suspend counters and add vanishing counters, technically. So, pretty interesting stuff. But let's move on to the grades. I am not a big fan of Idris. I'm actually going to give this a D.
I'm going to agree with Hunter on this. I'm not a big fan of this card, actually.
I don't know. I think this could be really cool, and I think there's something here, and I want to give it a C.
I too think there's something here, but I'm gonna give it a D.
Idris, Soul of the TARDIS, is going to get the average grade of a D. Next up, Jenny, Generated Anomaly. 2, a red and a white for a 2/3 legendary creature, Time Lord Soldier. It's got double strike. It says whenever Jenny deals combat damage to a player, it explores. You can explore twice because of the double strike. Isn't that cool?
Not really.
Why not?
It's just boring.
But think about it this way. If you reveal the top card of your library and it's not a land, you're getting 2 counters off of it. On it.
Oh my god, is this Boros, Voltron, Equipment Matters?
No. I wouldn't.
This
I would
is
not.
Boros Voltron Scrying Matters.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's powerful.
Dude, double
don't.
strike on a commander seems good. That's all I
It-
know.
It's 4 mana for a 2/3. It's relatively slow. By the time that this thing actually is able to swing and be relevant, I feel like your opponents are just going to kill it. And you've probably spent quite a bit of time and effort trying to make this card do a thing. So I'm not here for the card. This is just another Boros beater.
Exactly.
Boros Beater is my middle name.
Hunter,
Not to mention
Boros
this just
beater.
gets stopped by a 1/1.
Give it
True.
trample.
What do you
Run.
mean with like an Equipment Matters package?
Maybe. You don't know.
I'm
I don't
stoked to
know.
see it.
Jenny
I didn't know
Generated
that.
Anomaly. Shane, can you give me some lore behind this person?
This is the Doctor's daughter,
Whoa!
Oh, spoiler.
but it wasn't like he did anything to get her. He landed on some planet. They put his arm in a machine, and then she was basically cloned from him.
He
So it's
didn't
like
even
Jesus.
Yeah.
No coitus, Steven.
Oidis. Let's move on to the grades. Shane, what are you giving Jenny?
I'm probably giving her a D for double strike.
I'm giving her a C for the double strike damage.
I'm with Shane. This is a D.
This is a D.
Well, Jenny, I fought for you, but Jenny Generated Anomaly is the average grade of a D. Moving on to Kate Stewart. It is 1, a blue, a red, and a white for a 3/3 legendary creature human scientist. It says whenever you put 1 or more time counters on a permanent you control, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. And whenever Kate Stewart attacks, you may pay 8. If you do, attacking creatures get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of time counters among permanents you control. That could be potentially very powerful. However, you do have to pay 8.
I'm not a fan that this deals with like time counters, but it's not a Time Lord. I don't get it.
I actually really like this card, dude. For 4 mana, you might make like 3 1/1s over the course of a game. That seems really pushed.
She can't be a Time Lord, Steven. She's like a scientist at this research thing called UNIT. So she kind of like works with the Time Lord, but she's not Time Lord.
You see why I'm upset, right?
No.
Okay.
Shane has all the lore, okay? Don't question him.
On the 9th, 10th, and 11th Doctor.
That's all I need, baby. So the next videos we make, I'm not going to do shit.
Mm-hmm. Shane, what do you think of Kate Stewart as a card?
I'm going to give it the Stephen Meh.
Yes, it's been a minute.
Are you giving it the Stephen Meh, Steven?
I'm actually not. I'm actually a little bit higher on this card. I don't want to. It's kind of tough, right? Because we haven't seen too much from the set yet. So I'm sure there's ways to put time counters on stuff. Not to mention like the suspend stuff too. So the 1/1 white soldier creature tokens would be really fun, and this color combo for that is insane, I think. The pay 8 is a little aggressive, but I also think that between a lot of fun cards that this color profile gives you, it won't be that hard to make that 8 mana. It's like a Craterhoof Behemoth. It's kind of fun, just without all the
I was about
ramp.
to say it's pay 8 because of Craterhoof and Moonshaker Cavalry. Is I guess what they're saying is the new norm for this +X thing. But
I mean, it is a little unfortunate. There's no trample, but it is what it is. I mean, obviously we're not in green, so
Shane, based on flavor, does 8 have anything to do with this card? The number 8.
Not that I can remember. I'm sure I'm missing something.
I kind of like this card. I think, Steven, you alluded to not seeing enough cards yet, but based on this deck, it's all about time travel. So I think you're going to be making those 1/1s quite often. The ability to time travel, just to add counters to things, is going to make we're going to have a bunch of permanents that have time counters. So you're going to be making a bunch of 1/1s. And then who knows, if you have enough mana, just swing in. They don't have trample. They don't have any kind of evasion. So yes, they can be just chump blocked by a 1/1, which sucks. And you wasted 8 mana to do so. But I think there's a world where you can build around this and it would be a lot of fun.
Magical Christmas land.
Let's move on to the grades. Kate Stewart from me. I don't think it's there quite yet, but in the future it might be. I'm sticking average C.
I'm right there with you,
Average
buddy.
C. Yep.
I'm gonna give this a D. I don't think this card does anything.
Well, Kate Stewart gets the average grade of a C. Next up, Martha Jones. It is 2 and a blue for a 3/2 legendary creature human cleric. It has an ability called Woman Who Walked the Earth, which means when Martha Jones enters the battlefield, investigate. And whenever you sacrifice a clue, Martha Jones and up to one other target creature can't be blocked this turn. It's also a Doctor's Companion. That's
Now
a very powerful
that's
effect.
an ability I can get behind.
Yeah. Whenever you sack a clue, 2 creatures can't be blocked? Granted.
Mono blue Voltron?
Steven, why do you like this card so much?
I mean, that's evasion, man. And getting in for whether it's commander damage or just damage in general. I mean, blue definitely has a lot of effects where when you can swing in for some damage and your creature makes combat. I mean, what's that one card? Bite in a Fossa?
Bite Nathasa, yeah. That's a good
Yeah.
card. My creature makes combat.
Makes good combat.
It's late, man. Give me a break.
My creature make combat now?
Want some lore, dude?
Yeah, give me some lore, Shane.
So the whole thing about walking the earth, she went around with like the last humans on the planet, and they thought that she was collecting things to make a gun to kill this person to save the world, basically. What she was doing, she was talking to all these humans saying, hey, at this one moment, we're going to think one word, and we're all going to think it. And if we all think this one word, then it'll like basically save the Doctor. So she's going around walking the earth, finding clues, spreading the word. It was a really cool thing.
So it's like you got to believe in Santa Claus and fairies to make them like real,
pretty
right?
much. Basically, the Doctor's getting his life force drained, and everyone thinking of the word the Doctor basically brings like he turns into looking like Dobby. Like he gets all shriveled up and Dobby looking, and then everyone starts thinking of the one word, and then he comes back to life. And
And that is the power of thought.
Exactly. And it's cool because you sacrifice something and the Doctor can't be unblockable anymore. So it's super flavorful.
Can't be blocked. He can still be
unblockable.
unblockable.
Well, that's what I meant. I said it backwards. Hey, it's late.
Creature make combat now?
That's pretty cool. What do you think of this as a card, though, Shane?
Yeah, it's super strong, dude. You don't need to have Rogue's Passage anymore.
I just think you need to make a bunch of clues, though.
Well, that's what she's doing, dude.
She makes one when she
You gotta
enters.
flicker her. You gotta flicker her around the world.
Let's move on to the grades. I like Martha Jones. I think I'm going to give her a B.
I think I'm gonna give Martha a B as well.
I'm right there with you, buddy. I think Martha Jones is going to be great. I'm giving her a B.
Yeah, I like these Doctor Companions because of how flexible they can be. I'll give this card a B as well.
The average grade for Martha Jones is going to be a B. Next up, we got another Doctor's Companion. This is Rose Tyler. 1 and a white for a 2/2 legendary creature human. Rose Tyler gets +1/+1 for each time counter on it. It also has Bad Wolf, which means whenever Rose Tyler attacks, put a time counter on it for each suspended card you own and each other permanent you control with a time counter on it. Doctor's Companion. We got more timey-wimey stuff, Shane. What do you think of Rose Tyler?
Dude, she is like my favorite companion. As a card, I think it's pretty good. Put a bunch of time counters on something, put a bunch of counters on something. The fact that Bad Wolf, I know I'm gonna go into like a little tiny bit of lore. She like it. I said that Donna's really powerful. Rose Tyler becomes like a freaking god. She like stares into the heart of the TARDIS and becomes Bad Wolf, and it's super flavorful that like when she attacks, she puts time counters on stuff because she literally manipulates time. That's really cool.
Dave, what do you think of Rose Tyler?
Well, all of my other thoughts have failed me. So I'm now looking at this as like, this is 2 mana for a 2/2 that's just going to get bigger. So it's a big dumb beater. I'm not a fan.
I mean, as a commander, I'm kind of with Dave. I think this goes really well as the companion for the 10th Doctor. As a actual commander, I'm not there for it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with David for once on the big dumb beater thing. I think this is just going to get big, 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 and that's it. I mean, it's cool that it cares about time, and it's very flavorful, like Shane was saying, but I don't think it's that great as a card itself. Let's move on to the grades. I'm giving Rose Tyler middle of the road, big dumb beater, C.
Oh, I was gonna give her a D, dude. Flavorful, but not much else.
I guess I'm going to be the guy. Rose Tyler gets an F.
I'm gonna give it a C. I don't think it's an F.
How dare you?
Look, she could be a 2 mana 8/8. I don't care.
Rose Tyler gets the average grade of a D. Next up, Sally Sparrow. It is 2, a white, and a blue for a 2/3 legendary creature human detective. It says you may cast creature spells as though they had flash. And whenever one or more other creatures you control leave the battlefield, investigate. This ability triggers only once each turn. Investigate seems to be a common theme here with these cards. How do we feel about this? Creatures with flash can be scary. And especially in these color
Sure.
combinations when you're leaving up mana where people think, oh, you might have a counter. Or you're just holding a creature in your hand, just flash in whenever you want.
Oh my
It's
god,
pretty good.
I cannot wait for you to start your turn and then just like, bam, surprise, Drannith Magistrate.
That would be awful. I think it's a really powerful card, though.
I like this card a lot. I think this might be my favorite card that we've talked about so far in this video. Giving your creatures flash means that you can play just like draw go. So there's a lot of mind games that you can play with your opponents there. So I love that. And then also on top of that, if you do want to be playing with any kind of like blink or flicker, you want to be in blue-white, and this is going to further reward that strategy by providing that investigation. So I am actually pretty high on Sally Sparrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's, flashy creatures. I guess the investigate's there. It's cool.
Card draw.
Very strong, yeah. Very flavorful too.
Because you can blink, Shane, and those are the what are they called?
Oh my god, you just put me on the spot now for it. We were just talking about this.
Weeping Angels.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So it's like a flash out. And then the fact that when a creature leaves, she investigates, that's the whole point. Like her best friend disappears in front of her eyes, and then she starts looking around, and it's crazy, dude.
Well, let's move on to the grades. David, what are you giving Sally Sparrow?
I'm going to give her a B. I don't know. That may not be appropriate, but I think there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with this, and this is also just kind of like a play style that I really enjoy, so I'm high on this card.
I think it's very appropriate, David. I'm giving Sally Sparrow a B as well.
I'll give her a B too.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm going to give it a C.
All right, well, Sally Sparrow is getting the average grade of a B. Moving on to the Face of Boe. It is 1, a blue, a red, and a white for a 0/4 legendary creature, Alien Advisor. You can tap it, and it says you may cast a spell with suspend from your hand. If you do, pay its suspend cost rather than its mana cost. Activate is a sorcery. How about this, David? I know you're not a fan of suspend, but what if you just get rid of suspend?
So you may cast a spell with suspend from your hand, so that I feel like is very restrictive. Given that we are going to be getting new suspend cards with this set, No, I'm not here for it. This is also 4 mana for a commander that literally does nothing. What if you don't have suspend cards in your hand? So I'm not with this card at all.
I feel like it's pretty powerful to cast a card for its suspend cost rather than its regular mana cost, because usually the suspend cost is way cheaper for a reason, because it's a pretty powerful effect.
Can you give me any instances of cards of which would be relevant here?
All right, David, as an example, I don't have an exact card in my head, but let's say a suspend card normally costs 6 mana, or you can cast it for suspend cost for 2 mana, but it has 3 time counters on it. Wouldn't it be so much better just to cast it for 2?
So you're telling me you're going to play bad cards, hoping that your commander helps them not be bad cards?
Isn't that what a commander does?
No,
That helps
I
the
think
deck.
I don't think that your commander should be playing bad cards, hoping to make the rest of the deck good. I think that the commander should be elevating the rest of the cards or that specific synergy or strategy. I don't think that this card does this. I think that if this card dies, your deck just shuts off.
Well, you start putting shit in suspend.
Exactly, and that's my point is at what if this dies, your deck is really not doing anything because you're already not going to be playing a whole lot of those suspend cards to begin with. Most of them don't see play.
I think this card's fantastic. I love it. It's quirky. It's weird. A lot of these suspend cards are insanely expensive, but their suspend cost is super cheap. I think this is amazing, and I really do love this card.
Steven, you are not alone.
Dude, you could play a Lotus Bloom for free, David.
It's true, Dave. There you go.
Thank you.
I mean, this has so many fun, quirky things that can untap it. I think this is a really fun deck to build around. I don't even think it has to be super expensive. Not expensive, sorry, but super competitive or super strong. I just think this would be a really fun deck to play.
You could play Pathesis for 2 mana. Destroy a creature and its a controller loses life equal to its power and toughness. Seems good. I got them for days, Dave.
Let's move on to the grades. For the memes, for the quirkiness, Steven, what are you giving the Face of Boe?
It's definitely not an A, but it's definitely a B.
I'm not going that high. The Face of Boe for me is getting a C.
Yeah, I think I'm going to make it a C. It's so awesome. It's like one of my favorite creatures, but it's a tough card to judge.
I really like Steven's logic on this one. It's definitely not a B. This card is a D.
The Face of Boe is getting the average grade of a C. Time to move on to the Doctors. That's right, we got 9, 10, 11 in that order, not necessarily alphabetical, but it makes more sense this way. So the first up, the 9th Doctor. It is 1, a blue, and a red for a 2/4 legendary creature, Time Lord Doctor. It's got haste. It has Into the TARDIS, which means whenever the 9th Doctor becomes untapped during your untapped step, you get an additional upkeep step after this step. Man, double the upkeep triggers. It's a very powerful effect. I like this card a lot.
No, that's a Time Lord.
That's a Time Lord. Look at him go. David, tell me why you don't like this card.
I think that this card is actually probably fine. There's enough things that you could be able to do with this to just at the beginning of your upkeep triggers, and it's relatively cheap, coming in at only 3 mana. So I don't dislike this card.
That is fantastic.
I need someone to help me in the comments and tell me why this exact ability. Because I know this Doctor very well, but I can't figure out why this ability is relevant to him.
Does he ever do anything twice?
I mean, he's a Time Lord. He can hop into a TARDIS and go back in time, sure.
I mean, does he ever come back for a second go around? I mean, 2 upkeeps, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Two
I will say
upkeeps
that
is
since he's the 9th one, I haven't watched him. I mean, I've tried to rewatch it, so I don't know. It's not the most fresh Doctor in my mind, so somebody help me.
Sorry, you're just so excited. You said 9, 10, 11, man.
I know, dude. This was the first Doctor I ever met, dude. This guy was sick.
So he's like your pediatrician.
Kinda, yeah. I was sad that he only got 1 season. Other Doctors get it was supposed to be a new Doctor every season, but then everyone loved the 10th Doctor, so he got a million seasons.
Well,
Sorry,
what do you think of this as a card, Shane?
I think it's very strong. It's a very good ability.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do with double upkeeps. Seems pretty good.
It's making me kind of excited to possibly play some shrines.
Shrines. There you go. Did we find a new shrine?
No,
Command? No.
no.
No, not a commander. Although it's a good support card.
Good support card, yeah, for sure. Well, let's move on to the grades. Shane, what are you giving your ninth Doctor?
Got to give him a B, man. Really strong ability.
I agree with Shane. I'm going to give this a B. I think there's a lot you can do with this card.
I completely agree with the two of you. It's a B from me too.
Looks like we're all the same.
The ninth Doctor gets the average grade of a B. Moving on to the 10th Doctor. It is 3, a blue and a red for a 3/5 legendary creature, Time Lord Doctor. It has Alonzi. It means whenever you attack, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. Put 3 time counters on it. If it doesn't have Suspend, it gains Suspend. It also has Timey-Wimey, which pays 7. Time travel 3 times. Activate only as a sorcery. We're time traveling.
It's a Time Lord, baby.
Yeah, dude. I think that time travel mechanic is going to come back at some point. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think it's very good, and it will help suspend cards.
I mean, this card's great, but you really have to protect this thing.
Free
Yeah,
spells are
good
never
news.
bad.
Good news is that first trigger is whenever you attack. Doesn't have to be with him, which is great.
That is true. That's a pretty big positive for this card. So your other creatures can trigger this too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think the other cool thing too is although it is random of what you could get, at least you know it's not going to be like a fucking land.
Yeah, put a land. Oh, it's got time counters on it.
Like
That'd be so
you
bad.
can hit less relevant cards, but you can't whiff on it. So I guess that's kind of cool. My only thing being is that like once again, like I do feel like suspend is just as a mechanic, it really telegraphs your play. Just because like your opponents are going to very clearly see that, hey, you know what, this is what the player is capable of doing. So let's interact with them preemptively to kind of shut them down. So I think that this card is actually going to probably draw more hate because of the second ability there, and then also that 7 mana is massive. So you're probably not going to be able to pop that more than once, maybe twice a game.
I don't know, because I feel like when you attack, you're exiling the cards, so you're not technically casting anything. And then you can use all the mana that you saved in your second main to trigger this and get rid of all the time counters on that thing that you just exiled. If it's some giant, that's awesome.
I mean, that is literally my point, though. It costs 7 mana. You're only going to be able to do this like once or twice per game. And that's assuming you're not actually doing anything else with your turn.
Jane, this is your favorite Doctor?
No, it's not my. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I like them all. That ability is really strong. Like I mean, I said it already, but free spells are never bad.
Free spells are never bad. That is true. However, how free are they unless you don't pay the 7?
Well, don't those suspend counters just come off on its own?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah,
It will
it's
be
slow.
free after 3 turns.
Yeah, I know. So it's slow, but I'm sure the deck is built around removing time counters.
Mm-hmm. Time travel. Let's move on to the grades. The 10th Doctor for me, gonna be middle of the road as of right now. A C.
I'm gonna give him a B, dude.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Shane. I think, to be quite honest with you, I really want to give this card an A, but I think just for the removal standpoint, this is a B.
I'm going to give this card a C.
The 10th Doctor is getting the average grade of a B. And the 11th Doctor. It is 1, a white and a blue for a 3/2 legendary creature, Time Lord Doctor. Has an ability called I Am Talking. Whenever the 11th Doctor deals combat damage to a player, you may exile a card from your hand with a number of time counters on it equal to its mana value. If it doesn't have Suspend, it gains Suspend. Has another ability, you can pay 2. Target creature with power 3 or less can't be blocked this turn.
So he makes himself unblockable and then he plays a card from his hand?
He could make himself unblockable, yes.
Suspends a card from his hand, and it has the suspend of the mana value. So you're not cheating anything big. I don't actually think this card is good at all.
Yeah, this
has-
one
It has
has
to be
to
able
deal
to
with
get,
combat damage.
yeah. It has to be able to get in, which like that's cool. It can give itself unblockable. So that's nice, but that's just like you're taxing yourself for 2 every combat now because realistically you're gonna have to pay for that.
I don't know, this is kind of weird and fun. I mean, with the fact that you can take suspend counters off or time counters off, like I think this is pretty viable, and the fact that it comes down kind of early. You know, I really enjoy this card, especially in these colors.
This
Yeah,
is
fun.
its first activation is on turn 4.
Sure, if you're just going standard, yeah, I see where you're going.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna make the assumption that like you're gonna play this probably on turn 3, because like even if you are accelerating in the early game, you're dropping your like artifact ramp and stuff like that earlier on. Like, I'm not gonna prioritize this over my artifact ramp.
My question is, now here's where David is probably going to agree with me. How often are you going to want to suspend something where you can just cast it?
I totally
mean-
agree with that point as well. Because like if I have a 1-drop in my hand, do I want to suspend a 1-drop? And then like if I'm trying to suspend something bigger, like do I want to sit back for my 6-drop to just be telegraphed for the next 6 turns?
6 turns is crazy too.
I mean, I also don't think it'd be 6 turns. I mean, I
I
think
think the
that
deck
you're
revolves around taking them off.
yeah, the whole deck would revolve around taking these time counters off. Not to mention, you would have the mana to play the 1-drop, as you said, and then be able to suspend a larger thing. So it's kind of like 2 spells for 1 in a weird way. I mean, yes, you might have to wait maybe like a turn or 2, but I mean, I think this is in a really good color scheme to just tax the shit out of your opponents and build a pillow for it.
That is still a turn or 2. The entire table knows what you're doing. That is a turn or 2 where everybody is going to plan for your turn. They're going to save their interaction. They're going to save their pieces, and they're going to prioritize hurting you.
I mean,
Assuming that
then
no one else is playing Magic at the table.
It's not that nobody else is playing Magic at the table. My point here being is that like you are telling the table, come hit me.
I mean, they can try.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the grades. I'm still going to stick with the average grade here. 11th Doctor for me is still going to be a C.
I'm gonna put them at a B.
We got a wide spread on this one. I'm going to give this card a D.
Yeah, I think I'm up right there, B too.
The 11th Doctor gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to another Doctor. This is the War Doctor. It is 2, a red, and a white for a 3/5, a legendary creature, Time Lord Doctor. It says whenever one or more other permanents phase out, and whenever one or more other cards are put into exile from anywhere, put a time counter on the War Doctor. It also says whenever the War Doctor attacks, it deals damage equal to the number of time counters on it to any target. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead.
I think I love this card.
I think I just hate Boros.
I love the difference there. See, this is why I enjoy doing these videos, because we can have such massively, wildly different takes.
It's true. I like this card a lot too.
I figured you would.
Boros, baby.
Putting a card into exile from anywhere, like that's pretty cool. Like that's a Boros strategy that we don't typically get to see. Like, I don't know. I like that they're trying to expand on the color pipe for it.
Also, when it phases out too, just fairy protection your board and just triggers before everything phases out. Or does it? How does that trigger work? Because it needs to phase out first, right? So if this phases out, it doesn't get the trigger.
I mean, yeah, it's not going to get anything. But I mean, like on its second one too. So whenever it deals or whenever it attacks, it's going to be able to hit something. So like this is going to also prevent your opponents from being able to block effectively, or it just like hits like, I don't know, their commander, or just face. Like, I actually like this card quite a bit. I think this is a unique and interesting take on a Boros commander.
Yeah, there's plenty of those Ren's Resolve and whatever where you can just exile the top cards of your library and you can cast them this turn. As soon as those 2 are exiled, it gets 2 time counters immediately. That's crazy. And blast their blocker while you're attacking with however many time counters.
Yeah, that's just really annoying.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
It's
If I'm the
fun.
opponent, I'm very bothered.
I'm bothered by it.
I distinctly remember a game we played where all we did was exile shit, and it was just not fun.
Wasn't fun at all.
That's true. It does say whenever one or more other cards. It doesn't even have to be your cards. It's pretty cool.
See, this thing triggers on a path.
It does. Yeah, that is a very good card. I am a fan.
I don't remember this doctor though, dude. Freaking me out.
It's freaking me out, man. Where's the doctor from?
I don't
Comment
know.
down below.
I think it's later than me. I don't. It must be past the 11th, dude. Obviously, come on. Maybe it's
No,
a
this
flashback or something.
deck is only 9, 10, 11, dude.
Yes, I don't understand. What did I miss? What
You
happened?
missed the War Doctor, apparently.
Help me.
Moving on to the grades. The War Doctor from me, I think it's super powerful. I'm actually going to give this an A.
I love your
Wow.
optimism, Hunter. It's a B.
I hate your optimism. I'm not a big fan of this card because I don't want to play against it. And I feel like it's going to get removed a lot. Maybe even exiled. That'd be funny. I'm going to give this a C.
I'll give it a B.
The average grade for the War Doctor is going to be a B. And the final card we're talking about today is Wilfred Mott. It is 3 and a white for a 2/4 legendary creature human soldier. It has Look to the Stars, which means at the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on Wilfred Mott. Then look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of time counters on Wilfred Mott. You may put a non-land permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is just passively doing something that seems pretty good.
Hate the artwork here.
I love it, dude. He looks like somebody you just like find under a bridge.
Did you see that fucking UFO?
Shane, what's the lore with Wilfred?
This is Donna's grandpa,
Okay.
and he's like me, dude. He loves space, and he sees the doctor, and he's like, "What?" And he freaks out, and then he sees that his granddaughter's on the TARDIS, and he's like, "What?" And then he gets it's a cool guy.
Well, Shane, let's talk about this as a card. Free
Okay.
spells are great.
They're never bad. They're never bad.
This is never free.
What do you mean?
I don't know. This card is just like, it's so slow, and it does have a relative. I mean, I guess, okay. Mana value 3 or less isn't going to whiff all the time, but I mean, like, there's a chance that you're going to whiff here, and I'm not a fan.
But for however long this remains on the battlefield, you're just going to be looking at the top 1 card, 2 card, 3 card, 4 card, 5 card.
Yeah, so your first activation is going to be on turn 5, where you're going to look at 1 card.
That's only if you didn't ramp with some mana rocks, dude.
This is mono white.
Mana rocks.
This is not.
Well, this guy's a definite helper in a deck. I wouldn't call him a commander.
I don't think this is a commander.
I don't know. He seems pretty cool.
He is a cool guy. He's definitely. I get it that he's not a companion because he literally isn't, but he's kind of like a pseudo companion in the show, at least.
I don't even think I play this as a companion. I think there's a lot of cards I'd rather play for 4 mana.
Let's move on to the grades. Steven, what are you giving Wilfred Mott?
D.
I'm not
Yeah.
going that low. I'm giving Wilfred a C.
As
He
a
can
commander,
see the stars.
as a commander, I'm gonna have to give him a D, bud.
I'm going to give him a D.
Well, Wilfred, your average grade here is going to be a D. And that is going to do it for us today. If you liked that video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and also comment down below letting us know what you thought about our grades here. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Always interested to hear you guys' opinions on maybe we missed something. Who knows? In the description, you will find links to our social media accounts. That is Twitter/X or Instagram or TikTok. That is at Guys at Magic for each one. Also in the description, you will find a link to our Patreon. That's right, we are on Patreon now. Follow us on there if you want to give us some extra support. You don't have to. No obligation necessary. But if you wanted to, it's there. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.